On that morning in London's financial district of Canary Wharf, only one topic dominated every conversation. A reputed British investment bank had suffered a silent collapse. £48 million had vanished without a trace. Media channels were stunned, regulators confused, and buried deep inside internal files was a name no one was discussing: Adrian Blackwood, an employee so ordinary that no one ever noticed him. Adrian Blackwood was the definition of a typical British gentleman. Neatly trimmed hair, a grey, tailored suit, a soft accent, and an almost automatic habit of saying sorry. Colleagues found him dull, predictable, harmless. None of them realized that behind that calm exterior, Adrian's mind moved numbers like chess pieces, quietly and precisely, always several steps ahead. Adrian grew up in a working-class neighborhood of Manchester. His father worked in railway maintenance, while his mother assisted at a public library. Money was limited, but discipline was constant. Fixed routines, punctuality, and respect for rules shaped his upbringing. From a young age, Adrian understood that Britain did not function on emotions. It functioned on systems. At school, Adrian was never the loud or exceptional student. However, his teachers noticed something unusual. He rarely asked questions, but he studied patterns obsessively. Mathematics and logic came naturally to him. When he chose finance as a career path, his reasoning was simple. Finance was built on rules, and rules always left room for exploitation. After graduating in finance from the University of Leeds, Adrian moved to London and secured a position at a mid-level investment bank. The salary was respectable, the workload predictable. Corporate Britain welcomed him with polite emails, structured meetings, and passive aggression disguised as professionalism. Adrian observed quietly, studying processes the way a magician studies an audience. One department caught Adrian's attention: transaction reconciliation. Thousands of payments moved daily through automated systems where rounding differences and settlement delays were considered normal. Everything depended on trust in software and compliance procedures. Adrian recognized something instantly. What the British banking system considered strength, automation, and discipline was also its greatest vulnerability. Adrian did nothing for months. He simply watched. Approval layers, audit cycles, exception handling. Every detail was memorized. He realized that systems were not meant to be attacked aggressively. They were meant to be obeyed. If someone followed every rule perfectly, suspicion never arose. That understanding became the foundation of his entire operation. The first move was deliberately insignificant. Adrian identified a dormant internal buffer account used only for settlement balancing. He transferred £97. No alert triggered, no notification appeared, no human noticed. Adrian felt no excitement, only confirmation. The system was not intelligent. It was obedient and therefore blind. Weekly transfers followed. £500, then £2,000. Every transaction remained within regulatory limits, each explanation technically correct. Adrian did not break rules. He interpreted them creatively. In British banking, intention mattered far less than documentation. As long as records appeared flawless, morality was irrelevant. Adrian's personal life remained unchanged. Same rented flat, same underground commute, same supermarket meals. No luxury purchases, no visible upgrades. He understood one truth clearly: greed attracts attention. British society remembers excess but ignores consistency. Adrian chose to remain invisible. Within 3 months, the total exceeded £1.2 million. Adrian did not increase risk, he extended time. During audit seasons, activity slowed. During quiet periods, flow resumed. It was never rushed. This was not theft. It was patience executed with precision. One afternoon, internal auditors raised questions. Adrian remained calm. He provided documentation, explained procedures politely, and even made a self-deprecating remark. The auditors left reassured. To them, Adrian was reliable, cautious, safe. Trust, once granted in Britain, is rarely questioned again. After 18 months, the total quietly reached £48 million. None of the money sat in Adrian's name. It travelled through legally compliant trusts across British offshore territories. Every movement followed regulation perfectly. On paper, nothing was wrong. The system had signed off on its own exploitation. Adrian planned his exit carefully. He sent a simple email to Human Resources, citing mental health and a desire for a slower life. In Britain, such explanations are accepted without interrogation. His resignation was processed efficiently and respectfully. On his final day, colleagues signed a farewell card. "Good luck," they wrote. No one imagined that the quiet man shaking their hands had executed one of the most sophisticated frauds in the bank's history. Adrian smiled politely and walked out, permanently. 3 months later, the loss surfaced. By then, trails were cold, approvals legitimate, and timelines legally obscured. Regulators demanded answers. Executives blamed systems. The system, however, defended itself perfectly because it had followed its own rules. Adrian relocated to a coastal town in Cornwall. A modest cottage, sea air, morning walks. Locals believed he was a retired banker seeking peace. He spoke little, listened more, and blended in seamlessly, just as he always had. Occasionally, Adrian watched debates on banking reform on the evening news. Experts discussed safeguards and transparency. Adrian smiled faintly. He had not exposed the system. He had simply proven its limitations. For Adrian, this was never revenge or greed. It was demonstration. When systems rely solely on rules and abandon judgment, the most dangerous individuals are those who never attract attention. Adrian Blackwood remains a legally clean British citizen. No charges, no records, only a permanent imbalance buried inside balance sheets. And somewhere within the system, an unspoken fear that the next Adrian Marwai already be sitting quietly at a desk.